Constitution of 3rd May, 1791, a shared heritage. Right now we're getting into it. As the title suggests, the main gist of this segment is that an event called the Constitution of 3rd of May has happened, and that it is a shared heritage of some sort. And my question is, has any of you heard of this event? Has any of you heard of the Constitution of 3rd May? Anybody? Anybody in the audience? Has anybody here heard of it? Do you have any knowledge of the context of this event? Okay. This segment is going to work as a quick crash course about the Constitution of 3rd May, and hopefully we will be able to use it as a springboard from which to talk about it further in greater detail. So let's go. Let's go. Let's get into it. Some historical context. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was a composite state created in 1569 through the signing of a treaty called the Union of Lublin, which is actually interesting because now Ukraine, Lithuania, and Poland has created a close alliance called the Lublin Triangle, which alludes to this a bit. The Polish-Lithuania comprised of today's Poland, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, parts of Latvia and Estonia, and also parts of Russia. The official languages of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth were Polish, Latin, and Lithuanian. And of course, all this is pretty complicated. It went back and forth. Lithuanian, which later became Belarusian and Ukrainian, where actually Lithuanian was the main language in the Great Duchy of Lithuania for the longest time. And here we have the map of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Okay, this is the map. Right? The three partitions of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Because of the things like the Cossack uprisings, which caused part of Ukraine to go to Russia, which crippled the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth military capability, capability, because the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth's army depended on a union between the Cossacks, the army, and other types of things. And when the Cossack cannons and other types of weaponry were gone, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth has found itself to be pretty crippled. And there were also political reasons which caused the weakness and instability of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which the surrounding countries of Prussia, Russia, and Austria took advantage of to further destabilize the country and to take control of it. Initially, Russia, led by Catherine II, wanted to take the Commonwealth all for herself, for Russia. But since she knew she could not very well do it alone, she had to agree to Prussia's plan to a partition. And so 3 of the partitions happened. The first one in 1772, the second one in 1793, and the third one in 1795. And so there was no more Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth after 1795. The country had disappeared from the map, and it never came back as the Commonwealth. It came back as newly formed individual nation states that formed it. So Poland, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine were formed after World War I. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth never actually came back, no matter how much Poland calls itself now the Third Commonwealth. Okay? The Constitution of 3rd of May. We enter now the Constitution. The 3rd May Constitution was a last-ditch effort to save the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth from total partitioning. The effort happened after the first partition in 1791. Its goal was to correct the political flaws within the Commonwealth that had led to its weakness. Right? There were certain things like the utter injustice towards the peasants, or the so-called liberum veto law. The Constitution of 3rd of May actually did some things that I did not particularly like, because it would change the king not to be elected anymore, and it would change it into a constitutional monarchy, and the king, it would become sort of, like the family would inherit the throne, which is not an inherited type of monarchy, which I don't think was that great of an idea. I don't think the idea of electing monarchs that did not have that much power was so bad, to be honest. It was the second constitution in the world after the Constitution of the United States of America. So it was the second written constitution in the, hereditary, that's the word. The Constitution wanted to change the monarchy from elective, from the kings would not be elected anymore, but it would be hereditary, which I'm not a big fan of. Okay? So the Constitution came into effect. It was only in effect for 19 months. But, and I'm giving you a very abridged version of events, due to the intervention of Russia and Prussia and the loss of the Polish-Russian War of 1792, the Constitution was declared null and void by the Grodno Sejm in 1793. And what followed was the second and the third partition of the Commonwealth. Right? The Constitution tried to do a lot of very interesting things. Some of them were not so good, but a lot of them actually were very good. But that is not actually the most important thing of this video. I'm not actually focusing on super details about the Constitution itself, about the events surrounding the Constitution, because I will like to do separate videos about it, separate segments about it, as we move on, as we sort of explain the history of the Commonwealth from start to finish. I'm talking about this today because today was the celebration of the Constitution of 3rd May, and I wanted to give you some basic info so that you could have any context of what's actually going on, what this whole thing is about. And so, in my opinion, the legacy of the Constitution is a legacy of all the countries that were part of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. So Poland, Lithuania, Belarus, which is not a free country right now, and Ukraine. The Constitution of 3rd May is a shared heritage of Poland, Lithuania, Belarus, as well as Ukraine. So it makes sense that it should be celebrated by all of the countries, all of these countries, and that it should be equally treated as part of those countries' history. In 2017, Poland, Lithuania, and Ukraine have celebrated the Constitution of 3rd May together in Kiev. And I think that it was a very good thing. You know, I have here a link. We can look at it. And this is from 2017. It says Poland, Lithuania, and Ukraine celebrate together the Constitution. In the National Opera of Ukraine in Kiev, there was a official celebration because of the 3rd May Constitution. It took place on the 17th of May, and it was prepared by Polish embassy, Lithuanian embassy, and of course by the Ukrainian host. A lot of people came, you know, and it's a very touching moment when we can celebrate this together with Lithuanian people and with Ukrainian people. It is the spirit of the 3rd May Constitution that allow us to survive and think of freedom and independence. The 3rd of May for us is a date that sort of indicates and shows our shared history and our shared opposition to our enemies, the enemy empire, you know? And that same spirit gives us the power to support our Ukrainian friends in their struggle today for freedom. Long live Ukraine, long live Lithuania, long live Poland. And then there was an anthem of Poland, Lithuania, and Ukraine. You know? And I think this is a nice thing to sort of celebrate a clearly piece of shared heritage together. The only sad thing about it is that Belarus cannot be part of this celebration because it is basically a puppet state of Russia right now. And I have made it a very conscious choice to choose the sort of the symbol of the Commonwealth that did not end up being the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. This is the symbol of the Kingdom of Poland. This is the symbol of the Duchy of Lithuania. And this is the symbol of the Great Duchy of Lithuania, which comprised of today's Ukraine and Belarus. And I think this shared heritage is sort of important to remember. There will be a segment or a video in the future when I will be talking about this in greater detail. What I just wanted to say today is that a thing called the Constitution of 3rd of May exists, that the celebration happens every 3rd of May, and that in my opinion, it is a shared heritage of all countries that were parts of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. And that is basically all that I have to say about this topic for now, until I return and talk about it in greater detail as we go through the history of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth step by step. So, if you've enjoyed this pretty, admittedly short segment, I would ask you to press like, to share this video, to press subscribe, to hit the bell, and of course to consider becoming a Patreon and all that other good stuff.